Hey everybody, welcome back to the Natives in America podcast. This is your host Benjamin Juan, and with me as always is Skyanto.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Hell yeah. Alright.
What's going on?
It's getting colder. It's getting colder out there, man.
Oh yeah, it is.
I can actually turn off some of the fans now, and I'm just chilling, and every now and then in the middle of the night I'll go out and have a smoke, and when I do it's like, it's cold as hell, man. It's cold as hell.
Yeah, the other day we actually turned on the heater in the car.
Oh, damn.
It was kind of cold outside.
There you go.
We're at the courts, and it was windy, but we were still playing. But on the way in, we turned on the heater.
Damn.
It just came.
Yeah.
It just came. Just like no warning or nothing.
Yeah, right. I think it was right after a hot ass day too. Like it was just out of the blue, then all of a sudden
the hottest, yeah.
Yeah, I went outside and I was just like, it's kind of cold right now. I think it was in the mornings when it started. I'd go out like early in the morning, or I'd still be up, and it'd be kind of chilly out there. Just a little bit nippy. Okay.
Nips a little hard.
Yeah. I've been keeping the spring garden alive ever so slightly. And I'm kind of worried, like how quickly it's gotten cold, and I'm a little concerned that if I don't act quickly, man, I might lose whatever's left. It's mostly chili peppers, like jalapenos, serranos, bell peppers, and something called like a cow horn.
You don't cover them, or?
Not yet, but I think that's not far away. Maybe a week or two.
Pretty cool. I mean, not cool, but cool that you're, watching out for that.
Oh yeah.
What else you got?
Oh Jesus. Did you figure out what it was you wanted to bring up that you keep forgetting to bring up?
No. I'm still trying to. It's like you get two concrete pieces of information from one person, and then they kind of get blended. So. I'm trying to think, well, maybe I did tell you, and it just feels like I didn't tell you.
Wow.
Anywho, if you are listening and you do listen, we appreciate any kind of feedback, Okay. We're always interested in what else can we bring to this podcast, and yeah, feedback is always important, and so comment.
Yeah, I'll take some comments.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've said it on the air, but like the most comments I get are from random people, and they're sending like porn. Yeah, like they're spelled a certain way. They have periods in the middle of words, and I see it, I'm like, oh God. And I remember I clicked on one once, like, what the hell is this? I think it was probably either the first or the second one that I got. And the second one was, I finally caved in and said, what's the deal here? Because they both match, but not really. I clicked on it and went to, like, hardcore porn. I was just like, oh God. So ever since then, I don't click on them, and I kind of block them out. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of comments we're looking for here, people.
We're just not. No real feedback in that.
I don't know. There might have been some kind of read between the lines kind of thing. Like somebody wants to dress you like a schoolgirl and get you hard. Something, I don't know. It was pretty hardcore, raunchy stuff. I mean, I only peeked at it. I just peeked at it and turned it on. I was like, it's not all right. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, don't click on that one.
Yeah, so people, there's a wide variety of types of comments I want to hear that I'm interested in hearing, and I'll tell you this: you can keep the porn, all right, to a minimum, at least, you know. I think us here at the Reservation Radio Network would appreciate that if you kept the porn to a minimum. All right, so we're about we're almost 6 minutes in here. So I'm kind of curious. You said daytime TV, and then you popped off a few
some shows.
Yeah.
The first thing I think of is, remember when you used to, like, when we were in school, but there was a day when maybe you didn't go to school, you were sick, or whatever reason you didn't go that day, and there's TV, TV's on. But a lot of times I just remember Price is Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of being, you kind of got to remember too that this is before the DVR, TiVo, like, and even like, I don't even know what it's called now, but it's just like, we couldn't just freeze the TV and, or watch it later, record it later, like that wasn't an option. So like, getting to watch The Price is Right was sort of like this weird, like, awkward timing thing. I always remember it, because it was like, you're watching TV during the day. Usually, this isn't something. But, I think that's, I don't know if you want to start there. Do you ever watch, Price is Right?
Well, it's funny that you bring it up in such a way that you say, days where you're supposed to be at school but you're at home watching that, and I feel like I grew up watching The Price is Right. I'm like, how could I have watched so much of it if I was supposed to be in school? But I've seen a lot. Like, I used to watch, as kids, we used to be glued to the TV with our parents. We'd come home from school or work, and then we'd all kind of gather around the TV and eat dinner. You know, we'd eat at the table. We ate a lot at the table when I was young. And then we'd retire to the TV kind of thing. And I've seen a lot of Price is Right. You know, pre-Drew Carey.
Bob Barker.
Yeah. And
Bob Barker, right?
I want to say Roddy Piper. Whatever his name is, the guy with the shiny jacket up top. I think he stuck around with Drew Carey, or maybe they replaced his ass too. I don't know.
I can't.
Poor Drew Carey. They're sucking the life out of him. He like aged so quickly, and I think it's dealing with all those people just jumping on him and like, ah! I think at some point he started like throwing up the bowls or something, like, oh, back up. You're not, like, I used to feel that way for Bob Barker, like he was about to get knocked on his ass by some happy guest.
Oh yeah, I would always be kind of worried about Bob Barker towards the end, like,
careful, ladies, that man's an antique.
I always remember Plinko. Plinko is probably, I think, the best game.
Absolutely.
Besides the actual spinning of the wheel. Yeah, the Plinko. That was my shit.
I always felt like they had inflation too when you were guessing prices and shit, like the price guessing games, and you're going up or down, or adding another dollar. And it always came out like a $36 blender, like. I mean, that kind of sounds reasonable now. But I'm saying all the stuff that they'd flip the page and you either go higher or lower, and then if it's the right direction you went, it'll have like the Plinko chip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think those are accurate?
No, I don't know. I never felt like it did. I was always like, God damn, like even for something that you would think is cheap, like, fuck, who pays that? Where are they getting these prices? Southern California, that's where.
Yeah? Yeah, with the gas. You ever heard about the gas in Cali?
Right now?
Yeah, it's like pretty hot, probably like in the 5s.
Oof.
Almost there.
Alright, I'd start biking. Be held going back uphill and shit on a bike. Get all slowed up.
Start rollerblading.
Dude, I used to rollerblade a lot. I had rollerblades.
Same here, man.
Hell yeah. Would you get rollerblades now?
If I had somewhere to rollerblade.
You do. Your driveway, your whole road around your house. I mean, it's full of potholes. Pretty recently, I was looking into off-road rollerblades.
What?
Where they're bigger. They're like 2 or 3 times the size of the old tires, and they're a little more robust. The tread on the tires, and I think some of them even have air in them. And it's for going off-road.
Really?
Yeah. Because I used to always get stuck in like the dirt and sand in my rollerblades, but yeah. I was looking into that, and I was like, fuck, like, it'll be fun to go on and like a rollerblading adventure, but at the same time, instead of it just being for fun like it was back in the day, I'd be like working out, working on sweat. Like I never go out.
I don't know if I would do that, but it sounds pretty heavy duty.
They were like $200 and $300 rollerblades. I guess that's reasonable. I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind trying one of those. Well, it's not the hoverboard in Back to the Future, but the hoverboard where you're kind of like balancing on just the 2 side wheels.
Oh yeah, okay. I've seen those today.
It's kind of like a Segway.
Yeah.
It's like a broken down Segway. You just.
I was looking those up. There's something called a one wheel, and it just looks like a giant wheel with like a skateboard that works over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at that too today. I was actually looking at it earlier before we even came on. They're expensive, but it looked like a lot of fun. Well,
this is not anything related to. Well, now that you say like you don't realize how you're watching
so much Price is Right.
But
yeah.
You know what I remember too, like even like being at the hospital, like if you're sick or something, and they got the TVs going, and sometimes they would have like TV during the day. Like I know we also talked about like soap operas, because right after Price is Right was The Bold and the Beautiful now, but it was some type of soap opera. It was either before or after, but it was like, when I say daytime TV, those are like a lot of things that pop up. Is Young and the Restless.
The Young and the Restless?
Yeah, which I gotta give props to my grandma, because, man, she was rocking the Young and the Restless. Like, she was following that storyline for decades, you know?
Right.
You know, just kind of, I don't know, man, you're sort of, if you're buying into the storyline, you're kind of just enjoying the ride. But you gotta actually pay attention. So, she would record it.
Damn.
And watch it later.
Hardcore.
She worked.
Are you saying she'd tape it, like with a VCR?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just remember she just had her ways of watching it, even though, like, she couldn't always watch it.
She was magic.
Also, too, like, they got the soap opera channel that shows, they'll play the rerun, like, maybe a few days later.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if she missed it, she'll catch it on the, like, she got pretty with it with the times, you know, like, making sure she was watching her soaps, but it was Young and the Restless. I can't really remember any of the other ones.
Well, I kind of want to address the fact that I don't think there was any internet at that time either. Like, was there? And if it wasn't in our house.
I remember when we got our first computer. Well, it was a used computer. It was one of my mom's friends that she was going to school with. He was like offering me to give one of his computers because he was buying a new one, and it had internet capabilities. That was when we just switched the I don't know if it was the DSL, but like you used the phone line, you would switch it out, and then you put in the internet. And when people would call, you'll be on the internet, and they'll just hear that, all those loud ass noises. But I remember the internet at that stage, and it was kind of like, that was weird now that I think of it now, because like I used Excite. That was my search engine. I don't think Google was as poppin'. Right?
I don't think it even existed.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
I think it might have been Ask Jeeves. I remember Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, I remember Ask Jeeves.
And I think I was in high school when that came out.
I think I was in 8th grade when this is going on with the internet.
I feel like I still lived in that house that you lived in. I think I still lived there when we had dial-up. And that was like, right now they're talking about 5G, and we were like, I want to say 56K or like 800K.
Oh.
It was slow as fuck. Like, you waited, alright, and there was no like, oh, this is so slow. It was like, wow, this is fast as fuck, and like, if I had that today, I'd lose my shit. I think I do, actually, the way the podcast loads up on YouTube, and it takes fucking forever, I think I actually do have some pretty slow internet right now.
Yeah, I mean, but we weren't, I guess we didn't realize how slow it was. Yeah, well, we were in the future, my man. We were living the life. Damn.
We kicked it off. I'm thinking about the kinds of shows that were on and like what I did during the day. Like there was plenty of times. Like I always looked forward to the weekend because there'd be like Saturday morning cartoons. You know what I mean? Or like they'd have a few on Sunday. But like Saturday was the big day, so if kids think about it now, young people, let's say, they can pick up a phone and watch whatever the hell they want, wherever in the world. Yeah. And all they have to do is know something about it to describe it. If we wanted to watch cartoons or rerun cartoons, we had to wait till the weekend. So it was like once a week, maybe twice a week. And that was a big deal if it was twice a week. And like I'm thinking about that, it's like, okay, so I would stay home sometimes sick or whatever, and that's what I'd be like skimming through the channels for. And in the beginning, we didn't have, 500 channels. I had like 10 of them that worked. and I'd switch between them, and none of them would have cartoons on, and I'd be there during the day, and I'd wind up watching Price is Right, or like old black and white, like I Love Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of I Love Lucy, and the one, like when you brought up daytime TV, I wanted to say the Andy Griffith Show. I would be getting home from school, and like my dad, he had all kinds of different jobs, and there was a bunch of times where he didn't have a job, so he'd be at the house, like I think he'd be painting, and slating his paintings. So he'd be at home, he'd be painting, and he'd also be like cooking and watching daytime TV. And like I remember, right about the time I'd be turning the corner, I'd hear that whistling.
Yeah.
Well, that sounded weird. I'm trying this face blocking thing, like a spit catcher, and it sounds crazy. Anyway, like some of my best memories was coming home to that whistle, and as I turned the corner, I'd smell like beans. I would smell beans, or it was usually beans that I would smell, and I'd get all excited because I knew my old man would be making bread too. Poor man's bread, and I'd just be like, fuck yeah, we're gonna fucking tear it up tonight. So I kind of associated like the smell of beans with Andy Griffith's Show and coming home from school. I want to say like 4th grade through 6th grade.
I think of like hearing you talk about that got me thinking about when I was like, I must have not been in school, or maybe we were on summer or something, but like, I remember watching, it was Night Court. Night Court.
Ding, ding, ding.
And,
ding, 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 ding.
Family Feud.
Oh, yeah.
But that was almost like getting towards the evening. I don't even know if you would call that daytime TV, but it was like...
I would call that prime time, baby. Prime time. That was prime time. Everybody was home. We were all around the TV.
So it was kind of like the days winding down.
But the TV was winding up.
Yeah.
Turning up.
It was getting turned.
Okay.
Wait, so I mean, I don't mean to take this off where we're at, but like, I was also, I get confused about this show too, because I remember it being this raunchy show where it was like on in the nighttime, and it was kind of explicit, but then when I moved to Tempe, or I didn't move to Tempe, but I remember my dad was living in Mesa, and we went to his house, and Jerry Springer was on like daytime instead of the night, but it was almost like the topics were still wild, but they weren't as nasty.
Well, now it's like it's a big gimmick and it's ridiculous. But like I feel like I wanted to ask you about that. I was already thinking about it too. Wasn't there a time when watching Jerry Springer wasn't like raunchy as fuck? It was like hard hitting conversations.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, that was kind of funny too, because I remember like he had it's called The Final Thought. And he kept that going even when it got raunchy. Oh, I mean, so it was always like, even though it was sometimes outlandish or out there, he kind of brought it back, and was kind of philosophical about it, and I remember not always wanting the craziness, the Jerry, just, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of seen that show go through so many phases to where I knew some of this stuff where you knew it was fake, you knew it was.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm saying it. I think some of the stuff was a little, maybe written.
Not Jerry Springer, bro. What are you talking about?
I mean, maybe he wasn't in on it, but
God damn.
It was. I mean, I don't. So Springer was. There was times when it wasn't daytime TV, but then there was other times when it was. But I just always kind of being a fan of it, like.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched a lot of Jerry Springer.
Oh, I mean, he has a judge show now.
What?
He's a judge now.
Oh, of course he is. Has he got the robe? He's got the robe too?
Yeah, he's a judge.
He's a judge. You throw a robe on, doesn't make you a judge.
I would hope he has.
It kind of does.
So, I was just saying, like, maybe he wasn't the most favoritist talk show host of them all, but, I remember watching a lot of, Maury. But then, again, he had his, like, like the truth and I don't want to say it wasn't dignified but it was almost like I liked the "you are not the father," paternity test. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
But damn, is that wrong to say that?
This whole time we're talking about these two people. I'm sure there's other. I remember Sally Jesse Raphael and Geraldo. I remember a little bit of Geraldo. All I'm thinking right now is like they're famous for the raunchiness, the awfulness. Like I watched the show recently on Jerry Springer, and it was like they came out and the guards were already standing up there. I think his bodyguard Steve got like a spin-off show. He had his own show.
Yeah.
He go intimidate people.
The same thing.
Yeah, but he'd be on the streets, But I feel like they were famous before. They had their own right. They had their own show, and then the raunchy like just took it over. The nasty, the awful, and it seems to me like they filled a niche, like they filled this need and want that people wanted. Like people wanted to see people fight. They wanted to see people be the father and not the father, and they wanted sisters fucking dudes, brothers, and all this. Oh, I'm sleeping with you, but what's this empty other chair over here? Like, you got ambushed. It's like, oh God, there's a third chair and it's empty. Who's coming out? And next thing you know, it's, I also impregnated your sister. It's like, it's raunchy, but it's almost like that's what you needed for daytime TV. Or just the masses, the general population.
Yeah.
You ever wonder if that's all people in other countries saw of America, and it's like, yeah, all of America's like that?
I hope not. I don't know. I mean, I guess, like, maybe it's more like, oh, this is what they watch versus this is how they are.
Typical American. Typical.
Like they'll laugh at anything, or their level of intelligence is maybe not as high. I don't know.
Jerry.
So then,
I'm trying to think of this other girl, another host. I always confused her with Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay. Damn, I know there was cause I remember I used to watch another one. Damn, I forgot her name too. She had blonde.
Yeah, but wasn't it brunette before? Well,
yeah.
Sally was blonde. Sally Jesse Raphael. But then there was
I want to say her name was Jenny, or
she was in the original Hairspray. The musical Hairspray.
Oh, you're thinking of
Damn it! You gotta look it up, bro. Look it up, like daytime TV hosts. I remember Arsenio Hall. I watched
nighttime.
No, I don't think so. Maybe not in the beginning. I don't remember shit from his show, but I just saw like this replay of him like going off on a guest, and he's like, "This is my show. Sit the fuck down. You're on my show. When you got your own TV show, you can say whatever the fuck you want, but sit your ass down. You're on my show." And everybody's like, "Oh yeah."
It's Jenny Jones.
Jenny Jones.
You remember her?
No.
No?
Jenny Jones.
She was pretty cool. I thought she was more classy as far as the whole "Who's the Daddy?"
Yeah.
It was pretty.
Can you think of any of her shows though? Like what you found classy?
I don't know. There was just, of course, there's Oprah.
Yeah.
I mean, Oprah kind of set the bar. You know, she didn't really need to go that low.
Yeah, but how far back does Oprah go? Like, I remember her having those crazy hairdos and those like bright colored outfits, like purples, and how far back is that?
I don't know, but I know you're thinking of.
Look up original Hairspray. I have to get this out of my head.
There's a picture of her. I'm looking at her, but it's not telling me her name.
Look at cast of Hairspray.
Ricky Lake.
Booyah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember her shows either. I remember she was on there.
I mean, yeah, I think, like what you said, like maybe they had an intention to be classy, you know, but then...
What is that anymore?
They kind of we're not into classy, we're raunchy. Like the drama and the...
Jesus.
Fighting. That's what we like.
Hoping for somebody's wig to get pulled off. Yeah! Jerry! Some titty popping out of a dress. Jerry! Some chick to reveal she's got a dick. Like, oh, Jerry. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, madam. I keep cutting you off.
But now I'm just looking at all these pictures of the hosts from TV. Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. What about Whoopi Goldberg? Are you thinking about
Nah, I mean, I saw a picture of her because she's on, I think she's on the daytime talk show. What is that?
They're on The View for a while. I don't know if she's
is it
still
The View?
on there. Yeah, I can't watch that show.
I never watched it either.
I attempted to. I can't. She would. Whoopi is one of the most. She's a very talented and intelligent person. And she'd try to keep it that way on the show, but then the other ladies would just start going off about fucking nonsense, and then they'd all be talking over each other at the same time. I would always feel like my hair would explode, and I had to just turn it off.
Yeah, you know that show's not for you.
No.
That's not. It wasn't made for you.
Like my head's starting to hurt right now. I think it's
you shouldn't be watching that.
No.
Oh well. I think, were you ever into any, Judge?
I remember Judge Joe Brown. I remember Judge Joe Brown, but
I like Judge Joe Brown.
Or the People's Court.
I like People's Court,
but
yeah.
I feel like my favorite was Judge Judy. I think I actually watched more of hers.
Yeah.
Maybe the People's Court.
Judy. Yeah, she is good. Well, they have so many. I mean, I think it was always just something that caught my eye. It was just in court, and they were having those, like what they were fighting over, or who was suing who. And then after, when they had the post interview of how things turned out.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's still a thing now. Like.
No, it is. Well, you just said Jerry Springer is a judge now.
Oh yeah, duh.
Sorry.
Well, I guess it's like that. Like anybody can be a judge. But there was another judge guy that was on.
Like an old guy? This old white guy?
No. He was kind of a young. Well, he wasn't young, but he wasn't old either. Oh man, you know, there's weird times in my life where, like, at this particular moment, I can watch TV during the day, or like, I'm awake at this time, and now I can watch this show. I don't know, I guess, like, we're from a time when satellite TV, like, wasn't always popping, wasn't always a thing.
I think it was for the super rich.
That too.
I keep coming back to the fact that kids today, like my son, will never know what that is. Like being deprived of color on his show, there'd be no color on the screen at all. Just a black and white show. He'll never know that. Like I think if I were to show him a black and white movie, he would be like, "What's wrong with the TV, Dad? I think the TV just broke," you know. And like the fact that we can just have whatever we want, like instantly. Like he has a Kindle that his mom got him, like, and he's on it like all the time. Like, yeah, I want to limit it, but sometimes it just calms him the fuck down. Like there's times where I want to do my thing, and we both just kind of chill out and do our thing. Other times I need to get him out of the house, or I know he's been on it so damn long I got to take it away. But like that's what kids today are used to. Like there's no daytime TV. I was thinking about PBS. I feel like that's how I watched Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Like I used to watch Sesame Street all the time. And Reading Rainbow. How about that? Reading Rainbow. Reading Rainbow, Reading Rainbow.
PBS was like, it was educational, very educational.
It still is.
Oh yeah, yes. Well,
it's still rocking.
To me, it got more popping.
A little more prestige, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I remember that. Like for a while there was this one documentary that was only on PBS, and it was so. It's just like VH1. I remember when VH1 wasn't what it is now. And it was just kind of, actually they have more music on this show. Or just like MTV too.
Yeah.
They used to have music videos. Now it's
MTV.
Reality TV and
garbage.
Reruns of old shows.
Fuck. I'm thinking. Trying to think of shows like. I feel like daytime TV doesn't exist anymore. Like it's there, but it's like in another realm. Like I'm on the internet. I'm on Netflix. I'm on Prime more than Netflix now. And occasionally I'll hit Hulu. Like I think it's my sister's account.
Yeah.
But like I'm online. I'm plugged in. And it's kind of fucked up, but it's like I'm watching shit that I want to see. And, like, that just didn't exist. Kids, like, they're either lucky or desensitized. Like, from my childhood point of view, it's like, wow, kids are freaking lucky right now. And in the back of my mind, as like a father and as an older person now, it's like damn, like the amount of time, like from the get-go. I think my son could operate my phone, his tablet, and the TV at probably like age 2.5, 3 maybe. And for me, like I wasn't even allowed to touch any of that shit until probably after like in kindergarten, maybe. Yeah. I remember MTV would just be on all the time, and it would just be music, and there'd be commercials, but it would just come back on, and then there'd be like 16 songs in a row or something. Like commercials. Like you want to talk about how TV changed? It's like commercials drive me freaking nuts right now. Like there's times where I'm watching a show and it's like we watch 2 minutes of show and then 5 minutes of commercials, and it's just like, ugh. And like, yeah, it's just a short time, but like I feel like they're sucking my life out of me every second that those are on the screen. And I think I'm getting spoiled by the internet and all my shows, like being able to choose, having no commercials because I'm paying.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day because on Hulu, every once in a while they'll give you an option of like what kind of commercial do you want us to show you. And
it's almost choose your poison.
It was almost like we don't want commercials, but we know they come along with what we want to watch.
Yeah.
So by them giving me that option, did I feel like I was in control? Like, oh, hey, Hulu's letting me. I don't know. It was just the weird thing that caught me off guard. Like, why do I get to choose? Or you want me comfortable with what you're showing me versus I don't know, like before, where you don't really get an option of if you like a commercial or not. You're gonna watch it. So yeah, it is kind of the spoiled. But then I think like daytime TV maybe isn't for you. Cause that's where I think that there is an audience watching. It's just
okay. I could go with that.
Yeah, check this out. We've had this conversation. I remember we were talking about it with Juan. With like what generation are we from?
Oh yeah.
And we're like, and I was so like against being a millennial.
Mm-hmm.
And so this past weekend, I had about 4 players with me, and we're driving in Spectrum, and one of the kids. Well, so this lady, she doesn't really realize I'm driving, and she's like pretty much drives in front of me, and she's on her phone, she's talking away, so she almost doesn't even realize that we're gonna like crash into each other if if I didn't pump the brake.
Uh-huh.
And so like Keanu, who's one of the players, he was like, man, he was you millennial. and I just kind of laughed. It was funny, but then I was like, what's a millennial to you?
Yeah, right.
And boom, they busted out of their phones and they started telling me like, this is a millennial, this is Gen X, this is, and apparently I'm in the millennial generation.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything I was saying was according to whatever they were looking at. I don't know, it might not have been the legit site, but yeah, they pretty much called me a millennial and or making fun of me and telling me not to say I'm a Gen X or a Gen Z. But yeah, so it burst my bubble a little.
Kind of burst mine too.
Because I didn't want to be a millennial.
Secondary damage here. I'm kind of hurting now.
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed.
I've definitely said I don't like millennials, and I'm pretty sure I'm a millennial. I fit into that category.
Weird. We're in that time, man. I
guess so. I've said it a few times that like when I was like 18, I was like, I'm an adult now. I think we've said this before. I'm an adult now. Yeah. And then older people were like, you're just a kid. And I'm like, man, screw you. I'm an adult. I'm living my life. I do my thing. Yeah. There'll be people like maybe 5 years older than me, and they're like, God, you're annoying. Like, I don't want to be around you. And I'm like, that's fucked up. Like, I'd always be like, these fucking older guys, when I get older, I'm not going to be like that. And I get older, I'm like, damn, these fucking little kids around me, like, they're annoying as fuck. Like, I remember I had already gotten into a little bit of trouble and with the police and all that, and then I'd have younger kids around me, and they'd be trying to party too, and I'd just be like, fuck, like, they're going to get the cops over here, like, this is, they're wilding out because they're, drinking for the first time, or they can't hold their liquor. I just like, ugh, like, I think that's kind of every previous generation looks at us and goes, shakes their head like these fucking guys. You don't know how good you got it, mister. You don't know how good you got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see that too with, you think of like for us, we didn't really, well, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but and maybe a generation ahead of us, they might have had to actually work in the fields and actually, do some hardcore labor as a kid. And not to say we didn't have any hardcore labor to do, but it was like, I feel like school was the thing that was being pushed on us. And school was sort of our labor.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that was always, I think older generations, there was a lot more like hands-on, that wasn't really like go to school. So I don't know. I don't know if that like changes our mentality to where now. Like I think of that too with like kids that play not games, but like nowadays they have a lot of like computer software to learn math, and they have all these interactive games and cool graphics, and we didn't have that shit. We had like two-dimensional like horrible graphics. And
it's all bit. 8-bit, 6-bit, like just. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So like sometimes when I go to the schools and I see the kids, there's this thing called Cool Math, coolmath.com, and you can go in there and play games and stuff.
Right.
And I see these kids, and it looks like they're just playing a bunch of games. Like, they don't look like they're learning anything, but
cool math.
Like that's me being like,
goddamn kids.
We didn't have this shit when we were like. I remember that Frogger game. I'm trying to think of a game that was in school that was like, hey, this is actually pretty cool, pretty fun. But maybe I'm getting that confused with the arcade game.
I would like to get some hardcore feedback on this. If you want to look it up, but like, I remember we used to go to like the computer lab at Indian Oasis. I must have been 2nd grade or 3rd grade, maybe even 1st grade. But we would go to this little building at the end of the cafeteria. It had a few stairs in the front of it, and then you go up, and then we had a computer lab in there. And it was full of Apple computers. And I remember there was this interactive game we would play, and it was a math game. And it was like the circus.
Oh, okay.
And I remember, like, somebody would climb a ladder, go on the diving board, and jump down. And it'd be real, like, shitty, slow motion, a little bit of sound, effects, I guess, sound effects. And I remember in order to climb the ladder, you had to do, like, 3 or 4 math problems to get it to the top. And then another math problem to get it to the edge, and it was like a trapeze artist, and then another one, and then he'd jump, and depending on, all of it was depending on whether you're right or wrong, changed the outcome, and that was high tech for me. It was like, that was fun, and I was doing math, and I remember the computer screen was just black, and it had like maybe 2 or 3 colors on it.
Yeah,
and it was just little tiny squares that would move in the shape of a person, and that was exciting and fun for me. And,
for me too.
And it's like, dear God, I probably would have killed for some cool math. And I think later on, let's say 5th grade or 4th grade, when it was still in Tapawa, at the old Tapawa school, which is like museum storage now. I was there, and I think Oregon Trail was still brand new. And we would play that, and that was a little bit of math and prep and a little educational, but that was like high tech for me.
Critical thinking,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Did we ever bring that up? I feel like we talked about that in another, one of the earlier episodes about Oregon Trail.
I feel like Oregon Trail came up at some point, but I can't remember in what context it came up. I remember the computer lady was hot. I remember I liked seeing her in her sundresses. Yeah. I can't remember her name, but I do remember that our principal had an affair with her. And I was pissed. Like I had a chance with her shit. I can't remember her name, but I remember she was kind of brunette with like wolf eyes, like a different color, like maybe green or bluish, gray maybe. And she'd wear these like long dresses, and damn, she was hot. Damn. Okay, sorry, people. I took it there, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, since we got there, we might as well just stay there.
Just ride it out.
We're talking about that. No, we weren't. I was watching it on a podcast where they were talking about like students that have affairs with their teachers.
Oh, God.
And I mean, like, it was like kind of like, it was almost like a double standard, because it was like, if it was a guy, if it was a boy that got with his teacher was a female, they almost like would kind of be proud of the boy, but if it was the other way around, they would persecute the teacher, it would be like predator, you know, but, I don't know. I think that was a natural. I think throughout your school years, there was always a teacher that you kind of, you know, liked, or maybe actually were like, "What's up, girl?"
I think about it.
I remember in like, I think I was in 7th grade. There was a computer teacher that was.
Were you all about Miss Campillo?
Nah. This was another school in Tucson. And I went to Pister. But I did have Campillo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just more. Maybe just the attention.
Something.
Like,
are you saying like one-on-one attention?
No, I think
did it for you.
I think it was more just the compliments.
Wow.
Like some of the teachers hyping you up, and you're like, "Hey, getting mixed signals." Like, yeah, she wants me.
Oh my God. Yeah.
She gave me an A.
Oh, dear. That easy A?
I was confused back then.
Yeah. I think she was too, man.
Yeah,
she was too. She was feeling you. You got that T.O. flavor, you know?
What? Can't get rid of it.
It's born with it. It's natural.
Yeah, she got a whiff. And
oh God.
But you know, nothing came of that.
Okay, all right. Shame. I don't know what's shame. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's get back on.
I'm gonna go back, but I'm not going back to daytime TV. I'm gonna go back to how lucky they got it, and maybe how they don't have it lucky. The other night, I was sitting in the living room with my mom, and she said how horrible it is that, like, she's ever the teacher. You grew up with a teacher for a mom. I grew up with a teacher for a mom. She said how horrible it is that we are no longer committing to memory and learning our subjects like math and history, that now we depend on a computer to do the thinking for us. And she talked about how horrible that was, and that there's an entire generation or generations growing up where we're dependent on a phone to do our thinking versus doing any thinking for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
She says stuff like that a lot, and it some of it sets in.
Oh, yeah. What I've been catching a lot now is, and I don't know if it's just an argument that has been an argument for the beginning of time, and the kids all know it now, and it's what they're saying. Cause I'm pretty sure I said it too, but it's like, whatever I'm learning in school, I'm not going to be using in the real world, so why am I using it? And it's just a constant argument I get from younger individuals when they want to like put down school, or they want to, you know, maybe it's just venting, but then I can't be like, you're going to use it, you're going to use geometry, you're going to use all that, you're going to need all that knowledge, and it's just sort of, I guess it's just sort of like, you know, just, I had to put up with it, so you got to put up with it, or, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, is it an argument even worth bringing out anymore, because it's not.
I think education has been changed completely. Like, I kind of regret that I didn't get what's called a classical education. And that was like heavier in arts and music. And they were actually trying to teach you something versus how we talked before about standardized testing.
Yeah.
And I also feel like today, like, going to college can be somewhat overrated, somewhat. But like there's talk that, you know, going to an Ivy League school is more about status now versus getting the best education. Like, people still drop it, like, oh, I've been to Harvard, you know. But it's like, I actually want us to go over different subjects here and say what we actually use. Like, I've used geometry. I was actually trying to use geometry before you called. I got these circles that I want to cut into 4 pieces, equal pieces, and I got to find the center and cut them equally. And I had to start looking it up. Like, I was trying to do it physically, but I was trying to find a proper way to do it so that I got equal pieces, and I had to start looking it up. But I also do carpentry work where I got to work with angles, you know, and I got to use the 180-degree method to find out the angles on a triangle. So I've done measurements on stuff like when I'm trying to shape and fabricate stuff, or do like a measuring tape. I've used a shit ton, and like, it's all about fractions.
Yeah.
Or at least in America it is. I believe everybody does it that way, but whatever. So when alright, so math, I would say, and science, but like I say all the time, my mind is heavy in science and math. Like, that makes more sense to me, so I kind of use it on an everyday basis, and like, I kind of feel like general education, like K through 12, is about preparing you to start thinking for yourself. It's like we all need to know the same shit, the basics, which is K through 12. And then when you go to college, it expounds on it, where you start to learn to think for yourself, if you haven't already. And I feel like some of the courses that made absolutely no sense, or I thought I wouldn't use, when it came to college courses that were about kind of the same stuff, it was more about philosophical education. It was more about theories and like thinking about society in general versus actually learning skills.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was more about philosophy and the human condition and kind of thinking about the world, and that's where a lot of those classes that I thought I wouldn't use came back. Or maybe I realized I didn't learn as much as my grade said. And maybe, like, one thing I definitely didn't think about, and I brought it up before, but it was like, you at different times in your history classes, you learn about different points in time. And it's like, all right, it's specific to a subject, like the Renaissance, you know, and you learn about that, but then you could learn about a completely different area in time, or maybe a different place on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out those two things can exist on the same plane in the same time on the same planet, but my earlier education never connected them together as being in the same place and time.
Yeah.
So when I went to college, it started going, well, you know, I learned a little bit of Native in the U.S. history and world history. I learned a little bit. Not as much as they would have taught in the past, because we're leaning more towards standardized testing. But when I went to college, that's when those early classes we dive deeper into subjects, heavier into it, where it started making sense. And even then, there's still a lot that I didn't keep. Or maybe it got replaced with new stuff that meant more to me than some of the stuff I learned.
Yeah.
And I also learned as I got older that there's such thing as a bad teacher. Like somebody who's not actually teaching you what they're supposed to be teaching you. Or they didn't pass the information enough. Like I always thought it was a problem with me. And there was a few situations where I was like, all right, maybe this person... And some teachers we came across where they were hostile or whatever, or maybe we made them hostile. I couldn't tell you for sure, but it was like their sheer personality prevented them from having any quality learning time with us, because we rubbed each other's the wrong way. And I don't mean bad touch, good touch. I'm saying, our personalities didn't mix, or they didn't belong out here, or something, and it was like, all right, you're no longer learning, you're just, bumping elbows and bumping heads.
That's the tough part about it, because it's like there's something that's not clicking that's preventing the learning from being a smooth thing.
Yeah.
And thinking back, I don't know, it's weird. It's like when I hear people say that about, like, not using the math, or saying, I have a calculator on my phone, yeah, I get that, but I enjoy figuring things out with numbers, and even though I'm not doing math or equations all the time, it still was mapping and problem solving and simplifying and converting, and it was all these concepts that you might need, and you might need to know how to, you might need to know how to understand it for what you're trying to get accomplished or what you're trying to do. So yeah, I guess it's more, I don't know, that
so
shit's more complex than it is, but again, it's like, what are we losing versus what are we in exchange for all this info and technology that made life simpler? Like, what are we losing? You know, like you said, like just even holding information, like we almost don't need to hold it anymore because it's on the computer. So, but then it's like, well, what information do you have? Like, it's almost like a blank slate. Like, and you just need to try. You need to go somewhere else to get information versus having all the information on you. It feels like you have it on you because you can access it, but we always talk about, like, what happens if their power lines do go down, and that creates
a deficit in knowledge.
Something.
Yeah.
And who's really the fittest in the sense of, I don't know, man, like, sometimes we think the world is so, like, black and white that it doesn't really operate that way.
Yeah. Well, my mom bringing up that stuff, like, my mind's there all the time already, like the what if scenarios that play out, and I always bring up like a solar flare. It's unpredictable, and it can happen to any part of the planet. I mean, some places are probably more vulnerable to it depending on the angle they are to the sun. You know, but I always think about the deficit that would happen, and that's kind of what my mom was talking about, was if we didn't have our phones. Like, the one thing, like, alright, so I wanted to mention that earlier when I was doing the math on the circle, I did long division. Alright, I wrote it down. I was sitting there and did the little symbol for division. I was sitting there working it out, like proving what the number I had in my head. And it felt very old-fashioned. I had to have a piece. I had to have a piece of paper and a pencil. I had to. And what was funny was when I was done doing it, I was like, Jesus, I could have did this in my head, but I had to see it. It was a visual aid, and I sat there, and while I was doing it, I felt kind of dinky. Like, look at the amount of paper I had to use to do this. I was sitting there, and I was just like, it felt very old school. And I don't know why. Like, it's math. Math doesn't, it doesn't age. It just might get improved slightly, as we learn more about the world. But, I'm not going to use that math, I don't think. And, like one thing that's great, and it's kind of like the advancement of computers. I think about the fact that we basically, I've done searches where I didn't find exactly what I was looking for, and like the positive part that I think about is that you could have like a library at your fingertips without having to leave your house, without having to go find a library.
Oh yeah.
Without getting a library card, without checking it out and having to return it. You could have these books at your fingertips, or at least snippets. I kind of see them more as snippets unless you know where to look. But
I was going to say, like, you might be able to have access to, like, I know at the U of A, like, you can access other university like, what do they call it?
Yeah, it was like library to library networking or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but what is it called though? Like a database,
Bookshare or something. Oh,
but it's just like you're able to tap into
knowledge. Yeah, the world over knowledge, and as a like I was thinking when I was talking about the difference between Ivy League education and maybe a community college, and how the playing field's getting a little level here, where maybe at some point you're just wasting money to say you went to Harvard. And what I'm saying is, like, if you have the drive and you put in the time, I think somebody who maybe has no access to education but access to the internet could, in theory, well, I'm sure it happens all the time, but it seems more theoretical, just seeing how we're doing our learning here, what I'm used to, how I was taught. And it's like you could learn and teach yourself the basics that everybody has to learn, test out and get your GED. There are ways around this, and it's kind of an equalizer. It brings information to places where sometimes maybe you wouldn't get it. The internet. And yes, it's a positivity that comes with growth and advancement. And like I was saying about the advancement of a computer, back in the day, a computer would, fill up an entire hall, an entire floor in a business building. It would take up all this space and still not have the kind of computing power we have on our phone. And now, we have access to all this, and it's in our pocket. You can grab it at any time. As long as you have power, you have this huge bank of information. And that's pretty cool. Like you don't have to have all the space that a library requires for the books. You have your phone and it fits in your pocket. You can bring it anywhere, or damn near anywhere. And that's fucking cool. That's really cool. It's exciting. But at the same time, you still got to put in the time. You still have to do the learning. You still have to do the reading or listening now, with Audible. It's a cool world to live in, but like what I keep finding or seeing, like in little Facebook posts and all these people that are learning to hunt again and like track and do all that crap, like there's this movement of returning to the old ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I always find that kind of funny. Like there's this movement to do the skills that like natives were doing back in the day. All right? All natives, like anybody who was here, or any kind of like tribal people. They were doing what they had to do to learn, and now people are turning back to that and going, maybe that was the right way to live. And I always go back in my mind, like when these two cultures came into contact with each other, there was a more advanced, or at least believed to be more advanced, and in their minds they were doing these, lower people than them, these lesser humans. They were doing them a solid by educating them. Is what they were thinking. Like, these poor people are half naked. They're not warm. They're not educated. They don't know what I know. So they must not be living an equal life, They need to be improved like us. They need to be more advanced. And then there became this, conflict. And this, like, forcing of culture onto other cultures. And I think it's funny that even now, we're so advanced, but people are paying large sums of money to learn something that used to be completely taught by word of mouth. Adults to the youth. And at the same time, that kind of culture of teaching was losing its way, or is lost, or is going to be lost if we don't really go back and recapture it. And I just think it's kind of ironic that's that's this big draw. It's this push, this movement of people trying to relearn what was common back then, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where I'm going with that. I think we're way off the rails right now.
Well, there's that, what is that video, Killed the Radio Star? Well, I think the new age technology, pretty much maybe put the daytime TV in the back. Just because, it seems like we're picking what we want to watch more versus it being on the schedule, and we just gotta find the right time. 'Cause I was thinking the TV guy, I don't remember ever using a TV guy, but I just remember them being around.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of not even necessary now. I don't even think it would be needed. A TV guide. Again, but then I think...
Printed, anyway.
I think that audience is, I don't want to say going down, but it feels like we could be a part of that audience, but it also seems like we're kind of adapting to, we want to be doing the technology thing. We want to be a part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, does it ever feel like that? Is there anything you could look back and be like, man, we adjusted to this. We weren't always, I didn't think we'll be doing this, and now we are.
The checkpoint going to Tucson. That's a huge one. I have to stop now. I mean, lately it's been closed, so nobody's stopping, but you're still slowing down. But it's that's an adjustment, and I wasn't happy with it. And I'm still not happy with it. Just seeing that thing kind of boils my blood. That big tent they have out there now. And, that was something huge.
Yeah. I was thinking more technology-wise.
Well, commercials.
Oh.
For one thing that's funny is I complain about commercials, but I still want shit to be free. So I'm going after these apps for free, but I'm constantly being inundated with commercials. Click this, clickbait, click this, try this new game. And a lot of times I get really irritated when it forces you to go to their site, you have to leave your game to move forward, or it tricks you. It has a super tiny X, and you try to hit it, and if you miss it, it shoots over to something else.
Yeah.
That's the way we live now. We expect commercials, and commercials are pushed really hard now. We watch Hulu, and the commercials are louder too. We gotta turn it up to hear the dialogue on the show, and the second it goes to a commercial, it's 5 times louder. And it blasts in my house, and I'm just like, fuck, turn it down. It's not fucking loud. But then the show comes back on, I gotta turn it back up. That irritates the fuck out of me, but it's something that I'm used to, and it irritates me on a daily basis. And I'm irritated by a lot of stuff the older I get. So kind of on that level, when I was saying I was doing the math on this circle that I was trying to cut up, there was a brief second where I was like, all right, I want to start looking up the equations of geometry, like circumference. Like I already know, radius and radius and diameter is pretty simple, but it's like, all right, how do I take those and turn it into a circumference? That's one I didn't memorize. And then I started thinking about the equations on a triangle, and I thought for a second, I was like, all right, if I didn't have a phone, like I was thinking about what my mom said earlier, and I was like, all right, if I didn't have a phone, where would I get this? And I thought about it, and I thought about the books we would buy for college, how they sell you a new one every fucking year.
Yeah.
And I remember at the end they had this, like, give the book back, but for a lower price.
Yeah.
Spend hundreds on a book, and then they give you, like, $20 back. And I remember my earlier days in college, I kept all my books. I was like, well, I paid for this. This is my knowledge now. If I ever need to go back, I'll go back to this book. So I got a math book with geometry in it in storage behind my house here. It's probably been chewed through by rats, but I'm like, fuck, like, I haven't touched that book since I left college. Like, I haven't touched it at all. I haven't looked at the cover in so long. But it's there, just in case. And, like, I kept thinking, like, where would I go to dig this up if I didn't have it here? How far would I have to travel? Like, if this were apocalyptic, if I had to break in, I'd probably have to go to Cells. And I don't even know if the Pizza Hut's still a library. It's not, right? I mean, that's an old building on the res, the Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
If you even remember it as the Pizza Hut, if anybody still remembers it as the Pizza Hut.
Oh, yes. You still know it as the Pizza Hut.
I also think about, where the tank's at right now?
Mm-hmm.
There used to be that giant green warehouse.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And it was, like, abandoned. I remember it being abandoned.
Yeah, I remember it being abandoned, too.
And then they tore it down. They kind of built a memorial there. And now there's a rec center.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Walking through there, and that building was, like, not torn down completely, but it was still...
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. Was that a sales district, or...
What do you mean? Like the district office?
No, yeah, what was that building there?
I could not tell you that. Even that's before my time. That's like early 80s. We're way off topic here.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about daytime TV.
Can you somehow bring us back off of what we've been talking about? You're pretty good with your little one-liners that bring us back. Can you save us tonight? I got nothing. I'm lost in the minutia, man. It's
well, we're struggling. We're struggling with
change,
honoring what we know, what we're raised on, but then there's all these cool advancements that don't make life easier, but there's some give and take, and I think maybe we're oblivious to some of the stuff that we give versus just being hyped that we can, watch what we're watching. But, yeah, I mean...
I was talking with my mom the other night. It like bills have been coming up. And I was talking with my mom because they really like watching the news, like local news, and we can't we got it on DirecTV, We have DirecTV here. I'm sorry, DirecTV and Cox. I'm not advertising here. I'm just saying this is what we got here, and my mom's paying over $100 for what we have. And I was trying to tell her, well, if we got this, and this, we could replace your entire thing. We could still have the shows my dad likes to watch, the shows she likes to watch, and pay less, is what I was trying to convince her. And we were in the Tucson house, and it's mostly run. We don't have cable there. We just have high-speed internet. And we were trying to watch local news, and all I could do is like go on YouTube and look up news, and all they had was tidbits. None of it was live. Like some of it was live, but it was selective live. It was like whatever subject they wanted to cover that night, that's what they made live. And I was trying to think, like, all right, well, the question keeps coming up, is it replaceable? Can we stop paying all this money? Because, you know, there's a majority of those channels we didn't even watch. We skipped through it. Like, there's a whole section of channels that we watch, and a whole bunch we don't. Like 24-hour fucking shopping home network, you know, home shopping network, 24 hours a day that's on. You know, you go down the list, and if you go 30 channels, you tend to pass 15, you know, Shark Vacuum, frickin', was it the grill, George Foreman grill, and the set it and forget it people, and the makeup people, and there's all this crap on there that I don't watch.
Yeah.
Like if you want to go back to daytime TV, I kind of wonder what you would watch if you were the person scheduling it. How would you fill your day? How would your dream daytime TV be?
Well, Seinfeld.
I was thinking Seinfeld. I just started watching Seinfeld again the other night on Netflix.
Yeah, me too.
Nice. So yeah, Seinfeld for sure.
Dude, I remember, and again, it's like these times when it's like, for some reason, you're home and you have that option. But I remember in the hospital, like you only, they're limited on the channels you get.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember, like, at this time they show Seinfeld, Everybody Loves Raymond, King and Queens,
yeah,
Family Guy. And I just remember that, this is and again, it was not so much that I was being lazy, but it was like, I can just leave it on this channel, and it'll show all these cool shows, and you know, I don't need to be flipping, looking for anything. But it's like we do that now, but it's on this whole different level, you know, like
so
what we want to watch.
Yeah.
We can even fast forward it to a point in the episode. Like, we don't even have to watch the full thing.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, so I just, interesting, and then maybe it's the attention span, but it just seems like we're not, or not to say we're not, but it just seems like the stuff we're watching is shorter. It's not, you know, everything's kind of like really quick. Get to the point and end it. Like social media. It's kind of just happening.
Well,
and it's gone.
Well, what I see a lot in this household is we kind of have two living rooms. Like there's our original house that was built and it's kind of tight and small, and we have our original living room where we'd watch all our shit. But then my parents they had the foresight to go, hey, we can borrow against our house and get an addition added. So this giant addition is the new living room. I call it the bigger living room or whatever. But like I'll be in there watching shit with my parents, and I'm starting to realize it's kind of like wanting to be around them. So I'll go sit down and see what they're watching. But a lot of the time, I walk out of there and go in this other room and start watching my shit because I want to watch what I want to watch. And the other night they had King of Queens on, and it was kind of like this nice little moment where my phone was off and I could watch it. My dad was laughing because he rarely laughs, but he was laughing. And my mom, she had put her book down. Like usually when my dad's watching this shit, like Discovery Channel, History Channel type stuff, National Geographic, he'll be watching that. Like Alaskan Bush People, Naked and Afraid, like Life Below Zero, and the Rainies where they're saving homesteads. Like I enjoy all that Survivor stuff. I enjoy all that. So I'll sit there and watch it. But then my mom's like huffing and puffing. We saw this last week. Or, I'm tired of watching this, and so she'll be on her book or her Kindle or something. She'll be zoned out. And the other night, we were all in tune. I was watching it. My mom was watching it. My dad was watching it. We were laughing, and it kind of felt like back in the day. Like I said, where we would gather around the boob tube, we'd have our food. We were sitting there having dinner and watching King of Queens. That's something we used to watch back in the day. I think it's all reruns now. But like, we were watching it and enjoying it together. And it was like this little vibe where I kind of looked up and went, wow, this is kind of nice. Like, we were laughing together, spending time together in the same room.
Bonding.
Yeah. And it was kind of rare, and it felt nice. And, I mean, the funny thing was my son had his Kindle, and he was watching whatever the hell he watches on YouTube. All that awful crap. And, so he wasn't in there. He wasn't zoned in. He didn't grow up with King of Queens. But there was this brief moment where we weren't watching our own crap. I think my mom watches like NCIS and Special Victims Unit a lot, and so like that's her show, and it's usually after my dad goes to sleep. She's watching that, and then all day long while my dad's awake, he's watching that, like the Discovery Channel stuff. And then whenever I get control of whatever, I'm usually watching Prime, Netflix, all my crap. So, maybe it's pulling us apart. Maybe, TV. But at the same time, it reunited us for this brief moment. It was kind of nice.
Yeah, well, I still gotta understand that, like some kids don't watch TV. Like they go to their game.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll watch Netflix shows, but
yeah,
they ain't watching no TV. There's nothing. Not to say there's nothing for them, but like they're not trying to get invested. That's the last thing on their mind. Yeah, I mean, I see that where it's like, it's almost like we don't have time for that. Maybe later, or I don't know, when I'm paying attention more.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like we don't have our attention isn't on one thing. It's on all these things happening all at once, and it can be overwhelming. But I was thinking too, like the Back to the Future. You know, like when they're going to the future and they like have all these like kind of predictions. And there's a point where the guy is like watching like 4 different things at once. Like he just picks his favorite channels, and they're all just kind of all playing all at the same time. And,
yeah.
Did they get that shit? Any of that shit right?
Well, when you were describing it, I know the date that was in the second one where he went to the future.
Yeah. It passed, right?
It has passed. And we don't have our hoverboards, I know that. Well, we got stuff called hoverboards. And then, the shame of that. And I remember that, like, remember the shark? You know, the music was playing and it was like Jaws 23 or something like that.
Yeah,
and he comes out and he's all digital and he bites him. He's like, "Aah!" And then it disappears. We have holographic stuff like that. I've seen it on the side of a building where it was like Spider-Man and he's coming out of the wall. Or
there's some good ones.
This weird giant hand thing that was reaching out after people. And so I've seen that. And I'm trying to think, like, you remember where the kids were playing that game in the cafe? They're like, oh, you have to use your hands? What a shitty game. Like, that is, like, the arcade game that he was shooting was ancient. It was considered like an ancient collector's piece, just for fun. Yeah. And that's the case now. They got that. Like, have you seen, like you rarely see, like, the classic arcade game. They actually sell one on TV. I've seen it. It's like it's like the dashboard of an arcade game, but you sit it in your lap and it's connected to the TV. So I've seen that, you know. And then, like, there's that bar, Cobra Kai, I think it's called, in downtown. And that's full of games. That was fun. I went and played that shit a couple nights. So, like, I'm trying to think of what else, but, like, that was futuristic, you know, they had that. I think there was even Segways. You know, like, the guy came in and he had, like, a broken back and it was, like, holding him up. It was attached to his back. The 2 wheels, and he just kind of came in. I think he was upside down, too.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about?
It was like an uncle. I think he went in the future.
Oh, yeah.
His kids were all grown up, and it was like the uncle came in. He had his back broken in a car accident. And he was upside down and attached to like his wheel.
Okay, now I remember.
I think there was even a self-walker for dogs, and I think we have that. I think I've seen something with dogs where a human wasn't involved. Maybe it was this. I think there was this treat giver that I saw that teaches a dog to sit and all that, and then it shoots a treat at them when they get it right. I'm trying to think of what else they did in that show, but I do know that the date is come and gone.
It passed, yeah.
We don't got no damn flying cars still. Well, kind of.
Where we're going, we don't need. Yeah, we're not in flying cars.
Ain't that a bitch? Yeah, ain't that a bitch? What do you think, though? Like, let me ask you this. This question came to me when we were talking a second ago. And let's kind of close on this. All right. I think we're grasping at straws at this point. But let me ask you this. And it's kind of a two-parter, maybe. I don't know, really. So my first question is, do you think as a society when the TV was created we were dumbed down? And then, so that's part A that I want you to answer, what you think. And then part B, the second part is, do you think a society today will be better off without TV? And maybe, I don't know what they'd replace it with, or if it just wasn't replaced at all. Do you think there's an intelligence difference, like for people, like let's say the Amish, they don't got TV, all right, but they're alive in this society today. There's tribes out there that have even less, or they're doing their own thing. But I'm saying, do you think a society today without TV would be better off?
You know, I would like to, because I've seen like, where some people just, they don't have a TV. They just did away with it, or you stop watching it, and they're perfectly fine. They're not worried about what's on, or, so, I don't know, I think, in a weird way, are talking about intimacy with technology. It's like
nice, good job.
TV is sort of our companion.
Yeah.
And a lot of times,
like the cable guy. Yeah.
I guess so. Like, where do we watch? I mean, that's what we're watching. We're watching TV. Or, and then again, like, what are we watching? You know, it's not all bad. I mean, like you said, PBS, there's some documentaries where you learn. So, I mean, the dumbest down. Maybe in some aspects it did, but not entirely, because I think, you know, we're also able to share information. You know, people, even nowadays, like, where, you know, like reservation dogs or like smoke signals, like where some of the films or some of the shows or whatever the content is, you feel connected to it. So that's kind of a loaded question to say it was good and not bad. It was all horrible. And there's some positive things that the TV did. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's sort of like we can plug in we can plug in all these things to it. Or we're just naming all the different platforms, all the different options, like, it's almost like there's not enough activities. We gotta watch TV too.
Think about when you're setting up an apartment. How important is it that you have a TV and some internet? Like think of everybody who's like going to a dorm or setting up their first apartment or their first house. It's like, let's go get a TV. Let's go get a video game. Let's get internet. It's kind of essential, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, especially now, there's TVs that are like you can just hook them up to the Wi-Fi. Yeah. And then you can access all your programs that you use or that you subscribe to, but that's all the internet, So, like, I think internet is probably the big thing. Because it's like you run your devices, you run your TV, your game system needs to be updated. Yeah, I think that was something we didn't really have to deal with back in the day, was like software updating. It's kind of like what you got, that's what you got, you know, but nowadays, there's always an update, you know.
That's another thing that irritates me. I'll say it right now, that shit irritates me. My phone will update without my permission. And it drives me fucking crazy. Especially when it causes a problem. Like my phone works less good, you know, it just drives me up a wall. I'm thinking back to my first this last apartment I had. I didn't have TV, but I had like Cox high-speed internet. And everything I did, my game, my TV, like I would watch Netflix, all that, like all of it was on there. And I remember when I went from one job to another, there was this period where I finally, my subscription ended, or I couldn't pay for the internet. And there was a couple of weeks where I got more done. I got out more. I got out of the house more because there was just no TV. Like I had to entertain myself. I was on, like I had my phone, but like it wasn't the same. So I felt like I lived more. Because I wasn't sitting in front of the TV on my couch. I mean, we got a little more air, a little more sunlight, a little more of, you know, whatever. Whatever you're doing when you're not sitting on your ass watching TV. Or your computer chair, whatever it is. And then I remember when I got it back, when I could afford to get my internet back, it was like, yes. It's back. I got it all back. It's glorious. So it was like, I think there was one point where I was just like, it's glorious. Like I really did. There was a sigh of relief where I was just like, oh thank God, like, oh it's back. Oh, and I just kind of sat back in my chair and relaxed.
Yeah.
And I also remember the earlier days when I was working at Home Depot at that same apartment. I went out a lot. It was like every day. There was a couple of weeks where I was busy every day. I was either partying or going out. Pre-COVID, so it was like we were going to the movie theater. You know, we go buy some shit, like, or we just drive around, like, and it was every day. And I used to go like, fuck, like, damn it, can't I just sit at home and watch TV without doing something? I was like, fuck, like. So busy, like I'm always headed somewhere. I'm going to somebody's house. I'm going out to meet up. I'm doing all this crap. I'm blowing all this cash. Like, God damn it, when could I ever have a day where I can just sit and watch TV all day? And then I remember something changed. It wasn't COVID. I think I changed jobs, so I wasn't like in contact with these guys anymore. I moved, and it was like, oh, I miss going out. Like I used to bitch about it, and then when I didn't have it, it was like, I really miss going out. So it's kind of paradoxical. Like I did more. I felt like I got out of the house more when I didn't have the TV, but when I got it back, it was a relief. It was just like, oh, thank God. I can get my fix again. I can watch my shows. I'm an addict. I got a problem. My name's Benjamin, and I'm addicted to TV. I'm addicted to online shows.
Yeah, TV eyes.
What do you call that? The Netflix Prime and all that. What is that? Online
streaming?
Yeah, I'm addicted to streaming. I gotta have my fix.
Man, you got a problem, bro.
I got it bad, bro. I got the monkey on my back.
They got you right where they wanted you, man.
A model citizen, my man. A model citizen. Another drone. Another brick in the wall, my friend.
Another number.
Yeah, there you go.
A mark on the wall.
I'm a number and not a name. I've been turned into a battery.
Man, you can still fix it. You can still turn it around.
Nah, dude. I'm over the hump, but it's all downhill from here.
Go ahead and try to warn you.
Yeah, you did, bro. We got it on tape here. We're recorded. We're not even on tape, man. That's how old school I am. I'm like, we got it on tape. It's digital. We got it on MP3 here. Damn. All right, so you got any last words? I'm ready to get off this thing.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Let's turn it off. Turn it off.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.
No.
Please, man. Please turn it off. Any words to the listeners?
We're not in those times right now, but doesn't mean it's not going to come. Where we're enjoying the daytime TV.
Damn.
But I don't know what it is. This week, I've been like obsessed with Dr. Phil.
Oh hell!
Like I just watched clips of his show. I don't know what it is, but it just gave me this vibe of daytime TV. That's why I suggested it, because it was like, this is the type of shit that's on during the day at home, and I might watch it if it's on. I'm kind of glued to it.
Dude, Dr. Phil has got a podcast called Fill in the Blanks.
I heard, yeah.
And his guests are people like Shaq and Kevin Hart. There's that guy Dax. He was in Upstream, or it was Without a Paddle.
Oh.
And he had I never remember, Steve Harvey. And different comedians, and they were all talking about having nothing, and then now they're world famous and they're freaking millionaires.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, I got into Dr. Phil for a while. Overnights where I was listening to Google Play, I think it was. So I was listening. That's how I got started in podcasts. I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, and the whole time I just wanted to put in my 2 cents. And one of the places that I explored was Dr. Phil. And I have to agree. Dr. Phil was he. I'm not a housewife. I'm not some drugged out kid beating my mom, like slapping my mom, but he definitely filled in my blank. Oh God. No, it was good. It was good and inspiring.
Yeah.
And I think Ron White was on there. And I think because of Ron White's stand-up, I'd give Dr. Phil a chance. It was when Ron White got fucked up on his yacht, and then he called him the next day, and he's like, heck yeah, he invited him right back. And I thought that took class. You want to talk about class? I think that took class to say, hey, come on back. You're still my buddy, whether you get fucked up and fall and break your arm, you're still welcome back.
Yeah.
That made me want to give Dr. Phil a chance. So I can admit that I listen to Dr. Phil.
I don't know. I'm not a big supporter. Sometimes he kind of annoys me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. I'm like, who gave this guy a doctor? But I would consider him daytime TV.
Thanks to Oprah.
Yeah. Well, aren't they like partners? Or do they got
a thing. They collabed for many years, and then he took it from there and did his own thing.
Okay.
Like he didn't have a show before her. I don't think.
Yeah. And I don't think so either.
Shit, but he took it and went with it. And now he, every year, spends time in Monaco on a yacht or wherever he wants to go. A week with his family on a yacht.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. But, yeah, man. Maybe the TV is going obsolete.
Maybe. I'm attempting to do that in this house, but I just don't know if I can because of the local news.
Nah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I watch a lot of TV, and I'm not trying to say, like, I'm paying because of it, but it definitely filled in some of the times where, you know, I'm just being patient, watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever's coming is going to come.
You'll probably be watching TV when the shit hits the fan.
Ooh.
How about that? I think I just blew my own mind just now.
Well, I mean, when shit hits the fan, what do? We watch TV.
Yeah. A lot of us will, right? We're going to go home and turn on the TV and go, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Good point.
I mean, that is kind of our connection to the world. Or at least that's what we perceive.
Mm-hmm. Damn. Nailed it, Sky. I think on that note right there, I think we can...
Next song.
Next song.
Next episode, man. Just post it.
There you go. I think we can hit that big red button now. Everybody who's listening, thanks for sticking with us if you're still here right now to the end. You diehard fans out there.
Fanatics.
Yeah.
I know, I might be just one of you.
Yeah, just one guy that's sitting on his couch. It's probably a guy, definitely. Naked on his couch listening to your smooth voice and touching himself.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh.
God. Oh, God. I just took it there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those diehard listeners that are still here. I'm feeling kind of loopy. It's like 1 a.m.
Yeah. Well, I mean, different strokes for different folks.
There you go. Sky's voice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just how it sounds.
Booyah. All right, everybody, thank you for listening.
Hit it, man.
I'm going to hit it right now. Goodbye, everybody.
See you later.
See you later. Comments, feedback.
Hit us up.
We're open. Like and subscribe.
Holla at your boy.
All right, here we go. Peace.